welcome to FACEHAMMER. It's Saturday, it's pre-order day, it's Kragnos day, so hopefully everyone's excited, and you've got your fastest finger on, and hopefully the 2-minute premiere intro was enough time for you to actually secure your model or book.
Yeah, I think quite a lot of people are excited for this one, aren't they? It's it looks different. I've not got the book yet. You've got the book though, haven't you?
I have. Thank you, Games Workshop, for sending us a sample so we could do this. It turned up today. Today's Friday. Tomorrow's pre-order day. So I want to get this out on time. So we're recording last minute. Yeah, so I think it's a bit weird because like this is literally the book of all the scrolls I care nothing about. So I will caveat this show and say that there's a lot of changes to armies I've never played or never had interest in playing, and well, apart from 2 of the War Scrolls, but most of the stuff in the book I'll be like, that's okay, but someone will probably point out that I'm missing some key change or some big like nuance because I don't play them, so it's very hard to like pick up on those nuances. Yeah,
it covers quite a lot of races as well, doesn't it? So we can definitely at some point in the future, if it's going to be helpful for us to get on a expert to cover, you know, this change or that change or whatever, we can get them on. But it's not just destruction. This covers like 5 armies that are getting. It's a lot of little bits, basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's an overview page which we'll talk about because that's one of the pictures I've got. But this show will basically be us talking about the rules for match play, the changes, and
no spoilers,
showing them, but no lore spoilers.
Or lore at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know Kragnos' story, and I know there's been lots of stuff on the community site about him. I still haven't read Broken Realms Tech List because it's traumatic. As a deaf player, I've been told that I know why, but I think if I don't read it, it doesn't happen. So that's why I've stopped reading it. No, I will do a lore catch-up show because someone did ask after we did the lore for Broken Realms Marathi, but I was leaning a lot on Les to read the story more than me because I'm
going to do a story about Kragnos. He was smaller, then he got bigger. At some point, someone upset him, and then he got angrier, and now he's angry. Okay.
I just think he's very horny. He's got very big horns. Okay. So that's the lore out of the way. So let's go into the rules. Sorry, obviously we're joking. So what's in the book? So in terms of rules, so you've obviously got the Kragnos War Scroll, which has been shown already. So those astute community followers will have seen the War Scroll on the Warhammer community site, but you may not know about it. We will cover it, don't worry. Gleamspike Gits have got some upgrades, some changes.
Yeah.
Sylvaneth, new Ilarios scroll, some new formations, an update to the Wildwood scroll, and the new Warsong Revenant. Then Hedonites of Sinesh. Obviously, these are the 2 scrolls I alluded to. I said the ones I actually care about. So you've got the 2 new progenies. So Dexessa, the Talon, and Sinessa, the Voice. So
easy to remember names of stuff these days, isn't it?
Oh, it's a nightmare because everyone's sort of going, actually, you said it wrong. I said, yeah, probably, but they're all made up words.
So, right, it's going to become like, we all know from previous history, they're going to become like the peacock one, the cabbage one, or the chicken, or anything like that. Yeah. Because, it took me 3 years to get up to date with the Stormcast, from the original Stormcast release where everything sounds the same. And now there's more stuff that sounds the same. So I just don't think we need to bother using that bit of our heads. It can be the spiky one or the big one or the sad one or
it just reminds me of when I used to play the Space Hulk computer game on the PC, and every time you changed brother it'd be like Lioness, Ezekiel, and it's like everything in the Stormcast is like Ordinator, Redactor. And it's all like, okay, fine, I get it. It's cool.
Every name just sounds like it should be an aura from Diablo 2 from a paladin, doesn't it? It's just
Zealadin.
Yeah, zeal, it's all holy, sacrilege, sacred, something,
nerd
that
alert.
Type of stuff.
No, I really hope.
Sorry, guys, if you don't want nerdy content, you're in the wrong place.
I really would love a Zealadin Stormcast. That'd be cool. Every time you hit, you have to roll another hit until you can't move, and then you just die because you can't move out of the way of the big thing. People would know. So Cities
Not just sorted out your faster hit recovery and block rate though, so you'd be fine.
Yeah, well, I was a noob, so there you go. So Cities of Sigmar get the Excelsis.
I wasn't expecting that.
And Doralia and Galen Van Denst, the witch hunter, and those models that are cool, basically.
We're traveling back to Germanic inspirations a bit more recently with it's a bit more old worldy, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's why like Cursed City went like nuts, because it's like old. It's not really. It's sort of old worldy, but in AOS.
Yeah, it's grounded.
That's why I think Soul Blight is popular, you know, because it's got that classic Warhammer vibe, but also if you're into like AOS, it's it's fine still AOS because they've updated the lore. But obviously the new Croak War scroll. Is it
as good as the model? Let's see.
I think people were hoping that he would be bad, and he's not. And then it's like, oh, there was an opportunity to break the frog, and they didn't. I don't know. I'll just caveat that. Yeah, I haven't read it. Skaven, get some update. Beast of Chaos, get some update. Why not?
Yeah.
And obviously there's some formations and things. So let's get into it. Let's start with the big man.
Let's rock on. So Russ hasn't played these armies. I've played a few of these scrolls actually, but because I haven't got the book yet, I've only just received them. So this is going to be new information for me at this point, and it's going to feel like it's new information for us.
Yeah. So we've got Kragnos, End of Empires. He's got 18 moons of a 2+ save, 10-inch move.
I mean, that's a good start.
Yeah. I mean, 2+ save on the profile is pretty nuts. But his attack profile is crazy, you know, like 6 attacks, freeze 2s, Ren 3, damage 4, 3 attacks, freeze 2s, Ren 2, damage D3. I mean,
you give this guy +1 to hit, and he's 2s and 2s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then he's got his hooves as well, which are damage 2, and they've all got rend on them. He's like, he hits like a truck, but obviously he's got some special rules. So he can be taken in any destruction army. He doesn't get any of the allegiance abilities or benefits, but he doesn't break your allegiance. He's also a bit like Nagash in that respect, and he treats like he's a general in addition to your general.
The thing these days, isn't it? Apparently.
Yeah, I think because it's always that weird thing when you have like a named character and you're like, I want to make my non-named hero the general. I actually think it's quite a nice thing because they're that impactful. They should feel like you don't want to like, I'll pick this X small wizard model to be my general just so I can use the command trait. It's like, well, you know, it obviously makes sense that he's going to be the general if he's in the army, but you also want another general. So F2, why not? It's fine. So he's got this Bellow of Rage, which is interesting. So at the end of any phase, if any wounds are allocated to this model in that phase and not negated, roll a dice for each other unit and each defensible terrain within 6 of this model. If the roll is equal to or greater than the rage value, then basically it's on a damage table. Then that unit takes D3 mortal wounds. Or if it's a defensible terrain feature, it's demolished. Then there's a note about they're basically garrisonable terrain. I don't think that will mean Caradron boats, although they're garrisonable, they're not terrain. So before people get too excited,
just explode.
If he's within 6 of your boat, you're in trouble anyway. So
I don't think there'd be anything left with there.
No, he's going to go smash up your boats. But basically, if he destroys defensible, then you have to set the models up. We're 3 away from enemy units, and you roll a dice, and on a 1 they're dead basically. So, and if you can't set them up, I believe they also count as destroyed. So if you've got like a big defensible piece of terrain and he bellows at it, then you could destroy it. Now it's interesting because it's phase, and like it doesn't say like enemy units, it's just every unit.
He's an angry man.
Yeah. Then it says if any wounds or attacks this model, roll dice for each other unit. Oh, it doesn't affect himself. I was going to say that would be a bit weird because he could be a unit within 6 of himself. So that's good. It says that. I think that actually we picked up on that when it was play tested. But yeah, so actually, like if you're playing him in destruction, you probably don't want your army near him because otherwise they could do a wound in the hero phase, wound in the shooting phase, wound in the charge phase, wound in the combat phase, and he could basically blow your own army up.
It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Because he's not fast at all, actually.
No.
And he He's got to take quite a lot of wounds before he moves down a pit, but 10 inches isn't quick. Not by Age of Sigmar standards, at least. So you're going to end up with some weird-looking tables where he's being, it's like a shark and then a shoal of fish just avoiding him or something, like over here a bit in the safe zone.
Don't get near the angry man. It's like, yeah. But I mean, obviously he does it more often the more wounds he takes. He's also gets to reroll charge rolls and hit rolls if he's within 12 of a Star Drake, Dracoth, or Dracoline. So, because he doesn't like the Draconif Empire. I guess that's a lore thing. Dragons, Stormcast armies that take those I mean, I don't really think he needs the reroll hit rolls, to be honest. It's like, then he's got this rule, which is it's just kind of ridiculous. So it's after this model makes a charge, you can either roll a dice for each enemy unit that's within 1 of this model, or you can pick a monster and roll 2d6. If you roll a dice for each enemy unit within 1, on a 2+, they take d6 mortals. If you pick an enemy monster, roll 2d6. On a 7, don't do anything. On any other roll, you multiply the 2 dice together, and that's how many mortal wounds you do. So if you roll like...
It'd be disgusting.
It basically one-shots
most things.
30 something odd % of the time it's going to one-shot any monster in the game. It's something ridiculous like that, because I know 7's the most common result, but even if you rolled like a 5 and a 2, no, that's 7, a 5 and a 3, that's 15 mortals. That'll kill most things. It only affects monsters, so there are heroes that are quite good and tanky, and they're not monsters. We wouldn't do it to. So obviously you just do d6 mortals in that case, and then he's going to hit you and he'll probably kill you anyway.
Yeah, but, he's how do you defend? I know we're still not quite through his profile, but he's got one of his attacks has a lot of attacks and a lot of damage, but it's the only 3-inch reach thing. His other 2 are 1-inch reach. So is there ways that
screens of non-monstrous units, basically?
Yeah, just because like a little crappy unit and then some other stuff behind, and he can get his attacks out the way, and then you can pile in and.
The worst bit is
you've got a good chance of damaging him, of hurting him,
because it does the damage in the charge phase. So like the worst bit is when he charges one of your monsters, deletes it, and then because he's made a charge, you can just pile in 3 and attack with 3-inch reach anyway.
Yeah, so like, you want to have a screen of 10 or more crappy things that he isn't going to wipe out, that he has to then put all of his attacks into, and then you can pile in with stuff that was 2 inches behind that screen,
or charge him next turn. Yeah, he's scary, very scary. He's also
doesn't like high Ren though.
No, just shoot him. Right, that's everything in Age of Sigmar. Shoot it.
KO would enjoy this guy, I think.
Yeah. Then he doesn't have an after save or a mortal wound save, which is the big deal, really. So plus 1 bravery.
What does the shield do then?
The shield gives him, every time he's affected by a spell or endless spell, you can roll 3d6, and if the roll's greater than the casting value of the spell, ignore the effects. Now, that's not the casting roll, that's the casting value. So if you have a spell that's cast on a 4 and they've rolled an 11 to cast it, you'd only have to beat the 4.
Yeah.
So it's pretty
essentially you'd be silly to target this guy, essentially, because he doesn't get to do this once, it's each time.
It depends.
Like 8 plus, I think it's because you could be using that spell on someone else. If he's your only target and you don't have anything else more useful, then I think 8 pluses on him would.
I mean, endless spells as well are like AOE, aren't they? I mean, if you have like a warp lightning vortex or something like that, then maybe like you just go, well, I think it's a 9 or an 8 to cast, and it's like, well, it's quite hard to roll that.
And locking this boy inside that would
doesn't work on him, it will work on other stuff. So it's I don't know. Like I think you're getting to desperation territory with stuff like that, but then at the same time, that's fine.
He's 760 points, and basically every single thing on his profile reads "I hit hard." Right? He's not a complex guy. There's not crazy interactions here or a techie command ability. The most complex thing is his charge thing, and that's not even that difficult. But it's quite a simple scroll. He's just a beat stick.
Well, he's a destruction god. So yeah, he is literally just a hammer. Doesn't fly, which is I think the main limitation. Now points wise, he's 760.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I was thinking about, would you run him in like Sons of Behemoth, like or something like that? Would you run him as one of your giants? Probably. I don't know.
He'd protect your other giants by getting shot at and has a good save, but
because he's almost two giants. Not quite, but
the main thing I think when I look at a scroll like this is how much fear I would have. How much fear I would have of high rend. If someone had high rend and disposable units, I think this guy could be locked out fairly easily.
Mortal wound shooting. If it's anything that does a mortal wound on a roll of or comp like zombies, roll 6 still mortal. It's like just chucking
like 40 zombies with Van Hels would probably take this dude out, which is a weird thing to be able to say, but that's the world we're living in.
It'll do significant. I don't know if it'll kill him, but it'll do enough to. I mean, you're giving up like a 200-point unit to bog him out down, and I mean, he will absolutely destroy the zombie unit in one go. But there's no shuddering this guy with the Coven Throne because of the spell thing. But so the Orbim enchantment might be an auto include if Kragnos gets very popular. So he's cool. Like he's not for me, but
no, I'm not a huge fan of the model. So
that's
I love the shield, but I wouldn't be taking. But I would be pooping myself if he was across the table from me. And I think the way that you have to run something like this type of scroll with this type of points value is that you have to just put your opponent in difficult situations with it. You're either going to be try and sit back on him as a scary thing, but then you're not quite getting value out of him, or just pick the place where he can go and cause the most disruption and destruction, which is appropriate, and just send him in that direction.
I think he's like, if I have to compare him to like Marathi, I think I'm more worried about what Marathi does. And I think, but then I think if I compare him to Scarbrand, I think Scarbrand's like, he's like a better Scarbrand.
Yeah, but Scarbrand is
400, I think.
Yeah, 480, isn't he, or something like that?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah,
it's been. They've changed too much.
Yeah, there are going to be some armies though that he will just be like an army that doesn't have mortal wounds, and maybe it doesn't matter if it's got loads of shooting because he's still got a 2+ save. So someone who doesn't have high rend, long range, or mortal wounds, ideally at range, or some like crazy assassination piece, is really gonna worry about him.
It'd be interesting, like if you could do stuff like you could ignore rend, like you ignore modifiers on saves, because like without the rend, I know they're high damage, but if you've got something like, I'm talking about Soulblight a lot, but if you've got like Nephi, and you go, right, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on Twilight's Allure and cast the spell, so you've got basically a unmodifiable save negatively, then use the tactical insight to give her a 2+ save or whatever, and then you just go into him with a little dagger, just shanking him, going, go on, die.
As long as she's going into him rather than him into her, you'd be all right. But
she should get the charge, fly in with a 16-inch.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like if he gets into you, you've done something wrong.
Yeah, I think monstrous cavalry could be an all right thing against him as well, because they've got a high frequency of varied attacks, so they will do some damage to him. Enough wounds a model, they're not going to be losing too many. And we just spoke about death. Like, you could actually put Blood Knights into this guy with Nephi's spell on them, and if he was debuffed at all, I know he's 3s and 2s across the board. That sounds mental.
Minus one, they do a lot though.
Oh yeah, if you make that 4s and 2s, or if you made that 4s and 3s, that is completely different. So I think if you're running him, you should be looking really seriously at ways to get rerolls, or ways to get a bonus to that hit roll in particular, even if it's just to counter out someone else debuffing it.
And any like ability, not a spell, that debuffs him, or a spell that's an area of effect that you don't target him per se. I guess you'd still roll for that though, I guess, because it's affected by a spell. So yeah, as long as it's not a spell, it'd have to be an ability.
Command abilities.
But like the spell that affects your model's save, he wouldn't be able to negate that because it's not him.
Yeah.
So
with a stave, something like that. Models like this really don't like that. Loads of stuff.
Yes, there's a lot of stuff that would affect his profile.
I like him. I think he's gonna do exactly what he should do on the table. I think they've picked the theme, and he is that to an absolute T in terms of what he should do and how he is.
Yeah. I think he's good. If you're a destruction player, I'm sure you'll try and pick him up if you can get there fastest finger. But if by the time you've got to this point in the show, he's probably out of stock. Moon Clan then. So the Loon Shrine has been upgraded per se.
Is it an upgrade?
Yeah, basically all that's changed is that before it only brought back Moon Clan Grot unit. So if you were playing like a Squig army or a Troll army or a Spider Fang army, you couldn't bring anything back with a shrine. It basically did nothing. So now what it does is that if your general has Spider Fang, then you can bring Spider Riders back. If you have a Squig keyword, then you can bring Squig Herd, Squig Hoppers and Bounders. And if you've got the Troggoth keyword, you can bring Troggoth units with wounds of 5 or less. So not like the big trolls, but like the medium fell waters and stuff like that.
Oh, that's great. I've got a huge soft spot for the troll army. I think it's fantastic. So that's awesome.
It means that the shrine actually is worth painting if you're not playing like a traditional Moon Clan army and you're playing Squigs, Trolls, Spiders, whatever. So
I have a built one. It's a very nice model.
It is a good model. I got rid of mine. I had it like sort of done, and I was like, I'm never going to get around to playing with these, so I got rid of my Moon Clan stuff. Mostly got the Forge Rod stuff still, some old metals. So the Loon Shrine, nice little quality of life change.
Yeah,
there's some
I think that's lovely.
Setup rules on there which you can read. I mean, it makes a huge difference. Some Gloomspite player would tell me that it's now harder to set it up, but maybe, I don't know. So there's also new allegiances. So if you
Doors of Mork.
Yes, this is like a Squig allegiance that goes on top of the allegiance. So
I already like it, and I've not read it.
I think this was based loosely on the White Dwarf article. I don't know if it's the same or a replacement.
Good, so it's slightly more official.
So it says you can re-roll the dice that determines the move of Jaws of Mork Squig units. So the whole army, you don't even have to just be Squigs, right? So you could be a Gloomspite army with this, and you could have a mixed army, but you just want your Squigs to be reliable. So it's not like you have to only take Squigs. Because it doesn't say that you can't mix other Gloomspite units. It just says that all Gloomspite Gitch units get that keyword.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it only affects Squig units. So
command ability is a way to fight at the top of your profile, which is a pretty common thing in the game now with the monstery allegiances and stuff. I'm always a fan of that. And
it's good for, obviously, your Mangler, basically. And I think the Giant Cave Squig from Forge World as well, I think you can still play that. So
just a note, it says any phase, so if you want to use his movement value, this isn't once a turn.
Good spot, that.
Or anything. So, if you've got a really damaged guy that you want to send in as a suicide bomb, then I wouldn't normally say this, but Gloomspites are one of the, or destruction in general, actually, are pretty good at farming CPs. So you could be down to half your move. You could bring it straight up to the top, rocket him in a direction, charge him, and then fight at the top of your profile. And then maybe the thing that was going to be there to hit him back is dead. So I think that is awesome. It's command point heavy, but you could
sometimes. So it's better to spend it on that than not be able to do anything with that model, right? So
absolutely, yeah. And you've got models like Skarsnik and a load of other things in that army that can farm your CPs up pretty high, pretty efficiently. So
do you mean
pretty cool?
Scragrot?
Probably the 200.1 who gets D3 command points.
Yeah, Scragrot is the new Loon King.
Old, sorry.
I know, sorry. I don't actually think the move does degrade on a Squig. Yeah, that's a good point. But it's weird because it goes down and up again, doesn't it? It's like don't be in the middle. So you have to have one wound left or have all your wounds, and you do 3d6. So I just reminded myself.
Destruction equivalent of Scarbrand, isn't it?
It's like how boingy is my Squig? He's boingy when he's hurt, and he's boingy when he's healthy. But if he's sort of medium, then he's not very boingy.
Yeah, you can keep him at Daddy Bear or Goldilocks, and nowhere in between.
Yeah. So you get a command trait. So the general must have this command trait. You get to reroll failed battle shock tests for jaws and mortar units whole within 12. So that'll affect your whole army. So reroll battle shocks, not a bad thing.
On destruction means you can play further away from the shrine, which is quite nice with a potentially speedy army too.
And then you've got this Screamer Squig, which says pick an enemy hero within 3 of the bearer. If you do, to a next hero phase, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by melee weapons by the bearer that target that hero. So obviously makes your Mangler a little bit more impactful.
They're pretty scary, actually. I think people discount them because they think they can deal with them while they're far away, but especially if you've saturated your army with targets, when those things arrive, they are pretty scary. Their profile is all out chaos, basically, isn't it?
I've not, like, it's one of those armies that I just haven't encountered on the tabletop. Like, whenever I've played Moon Clan, it's always been the 120 bodies of negatives and sit in a big blob and you know, unfortunately. Anyway, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
there's
nice.
2 new formations as well. So Jaws and Mork, Squig Hopper units or Boing Grounders and a Mangler Squig, and they get Crushing Gobs. Add 1 to damage of the Fang-filled Gobs and huge Fang-filled Gobs. So +1 damage if they charge on all your Squigs in that formation.
Solid. I'll checkpoint values for these while we're here.
Oh, thanks for that, because it's going to be me flipping back and forth otherwise. So. Which will come through. Then we've got the Moonbiter Squigalanche. So that's the big formation. Oh man, that's massive. So it's 2 more Squig Herd units, some Mangler Squigs, the Stampede, which is the formation above, a Loon Boss.
40 points, the Stampede, which is...
You can fit that in 2,000 because the lot is 0 to 2, 0 to 3, 0 to 3, 1,
Squigs are pretty good for running formations, but you know, just consider whether that feels like it's worth it, or whether you care about the drops or the artifact, which you probably will do because there's some cool ones available.
So you said the Squigalanche is how many?
Squigalanche is 90, and Moonjumper Stampede is 140.
Okay, but this gives you after setup before the first battle round, up to D3 units can move 6 inches. If both players can move units, then you roll off. But basically, like, it gives you a way to push up the table, so it's not a bad thing.
Not unhelpful.
Your army would be a 1-drop because you basically, it's that formation in the other formation. Your army would be a 1-drop army.
Yeah,
it'd be quite fun to play.
Yeah, it would do 230 points for both of them. 3 artifacts, which is just great fun in Gloomspite as well. There's some really tasty options. Yeah. Which you're going to use. Yeah. No, I think that as a double battalion list, I think that's definitely one of the ones out there that seems like it works pretty nicely.
Yeah, then we've got Gloggs MegaMob, which is a Troggoth allegiance. So you get +1 to your Troggoth regen rolls in the army.
Gloggs MegaMob or Stomping MegaMob?
I'm looking at the Gloggs MegaMob allegiance abilities, and then there's formations. So
sorry,
that's all right. Then you've got the command ability Oblivious to Sorcery. So pick 1 Gloggs MegaMob Fellwater or Rock Gut, hold within 12 of a Dank Hold hero. To your next hero phase, each time they're affected by a spell, end a spell, roll a dice on a 4+, ignore the spell, affects the spell or the end of spell. So it's okay, but you have to kind of like preempt it, I guess. Or if they've already got a debuff on, I guess you could put it on and to take the debuff off. So, yeah.
Hits their flop a bit. I think that's more there for fluffy reasons than table-y reasons.
Yeah. Then you've got the command trait that you've got to take. So general's part of the army on the battlefield. Start your hero phase, roll a dice, 4+, get a command point.
It's just solid.
Yeah. And then you've got the Aether Quartz Studded Hide as the artifact, and it's roll a dice each time you allocate a mortal wound. On a 5+, it's negated. So again, good.
Awesome.
So,
yeah.
Then you've got the Stomping MegaMob formation.
Which is 160 points, this one, so it better do some tasty stuff.
So units can retreat and shoot or charge. So you get retreat and charge on your army, very strong. It's a Dank Hold Trog boss.
It's an army.
It's your whole army, basically. 3 to 9 units of any trolls, and then I think this formation is in. I think there's a similar formation that was either in the White Dwarf or it's in the book. I've seen this before. Same with the Squig ones. I think these are the White Dwarf ones with a little bit of an upgrade. They might just be exactly what was printed in White Dwarf, and someone can tell
official,
me.
Which is a big deal. Yeah.
Well, White Dwarfs are official, so if you can get hold of them, then you know where they are. And you've seen it.
Now accessible.
Yeah, and now accessible is probably the better way to say it. And then you've got
known of.
You've also got the Grimsca Tribe's Allegiance, which is obviously the Spider Fang version of this. So each time a Spider Fang unit is affected by a spell, endless spell or spell, you can roll dice on a 5-up, ignore the effects. So it's just on your whole army. So it's pretty good.
Quite cool, actually.
And it's the Death Grots of Shaiish is that rule, which is. And then you've got Drawn to the Ether Glow. You can reroll hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by Skitterstrand models if the target is a wizard or a priest. I don't know what a Skitterstrand keyword applies to. I guess it's going to be the big Arachnaroks. I don't know. Pass. Answers on a postcard below. Then you've got the Masters of Feigned Flight. Use the command ability to start your movement phase. Pick a Grimscuttle Spider-Fang unit wholly within 12 of a Grimscuttle Spider-Fang hero. Until the next hero phase, that unit can retreat and still charge. So that's still pretty cool. The Web Spinner Shaman, once per battle in the combat phase, you can say that he will unleash the battle cry. Grimscuttle Spider Fang models are treated as being affected by the light of the bad moon. So that's pretty good. That just gives you the light, which is the bonus. I think it's poison on the poison. Which, you know, just being able to just control the light of the bad moon is really strong. I really wish that, like, just the general did that generically in every army. You had a way to, like, call on the moon, like a war, almost like a war, but for the moon.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Like a loon rather than a war. But yeah, call the loon, the lunacy. I think that would be really cool, actually. It's because the problem is, like, the moon. It's just so random.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? That's always been the difficulty of Orc and Goblin armies in any iteration, is that how do you get that randomness across but make it so they can work?
Yeah, it's like random's fun, but also it can be horrible because it's like
tricky. I just checked. Skitterstrand is the big spiders, the Arachnaroks.
I thought it might be. Cool. And then we've got the Shaishan Spider Sickles artifact, which is subtract 1 from bravery, and units other than 6. In addition, add 1 to bravery while they're wholly within 12. So you've got to take it, but it's all right. I don't really care about bravery, but
don't worry, you're going to open up a load more artifacts with your 3 formations that you've got on the next page.
Yeah. So you've got the Spider Cluster. Ugh. This is not a good page for me.
Not your favourite thing.
So 2 to 4 Arachnarok spiders. Add 1 to hit rolls for melee weapons.
All of these are 140, by the way. Each of them is 140.
Then you've got the Scuttle Boss on Gigantic Spider and Grim Scuttle Spiderweb Shaman. 1 of those, 0 to 1 actually. And then 3 Grim Scuttle Spider Rider units. So start the first battle round after determine who's going first. D3 units, you can remove them from the battlefield and then set those up wholly within 6 of the edge, more than 9 at the end of your first movement phase. So it allows you to, like, take units off and bring them on later. And then you've got the Grim Scuttle Nest, which is 2 to 3 Grim Scuttle Skitterstrand Arachnaroks.
Skitters quicker.
Don't. It's like the whole thing's a tongue twister.
Yeah. Peter Piper's Scuttle Nest next.
Scuttle Spider in the Scuttle Spider Scuttling. In your movement phase, instead of picking a normal move, you can say it will tunnel through the web-strewn portals, remove the model from the battlefield, set it up more than 9 from enemy units. So
solid.
Yeah.
Solid ability with some Arachnaroks. Having 3 of those appear next to people, they're not amazing, but they're not awful at all in combat. And with their poison, they can do pretty tastily. And also, that's a lot of blocking of board space potential, which I think is pretty.
It's pretty
tasty.
Like, movement's always good. Like,
yeah, it is.
Anything that can move.
Good. I think all of those are all right. And adding 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons, not requiring you to charge, is that's pretty forgiving.
Yeah,
actually, like, really forgiving. It's just like, do you exist? Okay,
yeah,
very good.
You're in it. You get +1. Alariel, the Ever Queen. Now,
She's
got a new war scroll.
I've got the old one up.
Oh, good, because I was going to say, like,
I'm poopy pants at multitasking, so oh god, I don't even know which iteration of the old one it is. Right, you start reading, I'll go hunting.
So the you've got the spear, which is now a 24-inch range, and I believe it used to be 30 and get worse as you took damage.
It was definitely 30, and it was 2s, and it was 3s and 2s.
And now it's 2s and 2s. It's still the same rend. I've got to scroll up. I'm cheating. So the damage used to be D6. Now it's damage 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 as it gets worse. So it's a flat 6. So that's good. A lot better.
That feels more appropriate as well.
Yeah. I think the Talon are dwindling, and the antlers have basically stayed the same, other than the antlers hit on a 3 instead of a 4 now.
That's
and
it's
wound on a 2 instead of a 3, so they got +1 hit and to wound. So
big upgrade
there. She's obviously same wound, same save. Her damage table's changed slightly, so it's rather than being bracketed at 4, it's now 3, then 4 to 6, then 7 to 8, then 9 to 10, then 11, rather than the old one.
I've just clocked her points. She's 740. She's going to have to do some work to be worth that.
Yeah, I think that there's been a few. I think some people have. I don't know if it's been done on the Warhammer community site, but I've seen some stuff online that people are complaining a little bit. Well, I could just say that about anything that people online have been complaining. But I mean, I think that there's some people are a bit upset about that. So she's got life bloom. So what used to happen is she used to get D3 wounds allocated to friendly Sylvaneth models. Now she heals 2d6 wounds in her hero phase, and you do D3 wounds to all Sylvaneth units wholly within 30. Not herself, obviously. This is each other. So she gets a 2d6 wound heal every hero phase, which
pretty
is
good.
New. Yeah.
If anyone's ever played with her, though, they'll know that she's either alive or dead.
Particularly if it's Laurie using her, because she's dead. Sorry, Laurie. Then she's got the living battering ram rule, which is the it used to be like within, I think same, I think. It's something to do with terrain, but I don't know if it's the
same. So it was to roll the dice for each enemy unit that is within one of this model after this model makes a charge move on a 4+ D3 mortal wounds.
Okay. So on this one, it's a 1-0, 2 to 5 D3 on a 6d6, so slightly better.
Yep. We're always a bit wary of on a 6d6s because you can really easily get the same as what you would have on the D3, which is why it's so nice to see her weapon go to, just straight his 6 damage.
That's why I was upset about Prince Vordry.
Yeah. I think it's a far. That was one of the reasons I took him. So agreed.
Mm-hmm. So she used to get +1 hit rolls for attacks made by the Grunt Antlers if the unit had 5 or more, but I think that's just gone, and you just get a better wound roll on the Great Antlers. So it's not so much a nerf; it's more of a buff, but it just takes that rule away. You've got Swirling Glow Spites, which is the new rule, which is you can retreat and still shoot or charge. So retreat and charge you didn't have before. And also Soul Ampher. I won't be able to pronounce that. Amphere. And that's to give you a free unit, and she had that before. But
that is exactly the same selection. Yep, and the same restrictions as well. So that bit's not changed.
She's a wizard. She gets free spells. She can unbind free spells. She knows all the spells from the Law of the Deepwood, which I don't think she had before.
No, that's good.
So that's decent. They're good spells as well in there. So she's got the Metamorphosis spell, which is on a 7. Pay enemy unit within 16. Roll a dice equal to the casting roll for each 3, plus they take a mortal wound. It used to be on a 4+. I believe.
Was a 4+, yeah.
And if a unit's destroyed, before removing the last slain model, set up an awakened wildwood, wholly within 12. Wood. Yeah, get wood. I normally get wood when I destroy things. Sorry. And then the command ability, Gyron's Wrath, which is
careful with your great antlers and horns.
Yeah, that's my stag. If this model's in your army, you can use the command ability. Reroll wound rolls for Sylvaneth units wholly within 14 of this model. I think it's the same. Yeah, start the combat phase. Start the combat phase.
It was always combat phase. Yeah. So a few changes. I mean, instead of occasionally having a buff and hitting with your really important attack on a 4, just now always hitting on a, occasionally hitting on a 3, now always hitting on a 3. That's pretty solid. And the wound roll has been buffed also.
The shooting attack's better. And
the great antlers have lost she's lost an attack on the antlers. So it used to be
5 attacks.
It's lost an inch of range as well. So 2 inches, 5 attacks, 4s to hit, 3s to wound, Rend 2 damage as per table, and the table's not changed. So pretty much every single thing there apart from the Rend has changed.
Okay. But
fine. 3s is better, less attacks.
3s and 2s.
I could see what you still get a free unit, not to be discounted. She shouldn't be that points value. I don't think that feels I think that feels like probably about where it was points of model. It doesn't feel like 700 and something points worth. It feels like in the 600s to me, low 600s as well. What would you if you were going to put that in your army of loads of Sylvanethy stuff that she could boost the command abilities and heal, which are good abilities, and you get a free unit, what would you be paying? Like at 580, I would put her in.
I think she's got to be 620 plus for me, easy. Like just because of that, the impact of just having the shooting attack's massive. Like that flat 6 damage. Twos and twos. And then
that's the point
like,
there, yeah.
The point is she's still good in combat. The heal, getting 2d6 wounds back a turn is massive as well because you've got to do it in a oneer basically. I'm not saying I don't know. Like it's who knows. It's like I say, I don't really play the faction, so it's difficult to comment. But I definitely think the problem is it's like you start comparing stuff and you go, if I look at a Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon at 435, I don't think this is unreasonable.
Yeah.
But then if you compare her to Marathi, then she looks expensive. So it depends what you look at. And end of the day, it's like maybe it's too much. I don't know. But
I think 740 points for something that doesn't have an after save, doesn't have a
Kragnos doesn't have an after save.
Doesn't have a but he's got a more armor save, hasn't he, than her?
Yeah, but she's got magic and she's faster and she flies. So it's like I don't know. No, I don't think she's massively out. Like I know people probably think. I think the problem is she's difficult to use. She's a bit of a finesse piece, and I think because you've got a combat model that isn't that defensive.
She's a lot more finessey than Kragnos.
She is, but doesn't do as much. It doesn't do enough damage on the charge for you to just like charge whatever and kill it. So you've got to be really selective how you use her. She's all like
fast.
She's like a support piece. It's like the problem is like Teclis. He's like all magic really, and the combat's nothing, and that's why he seems really good. Whereas like Kragnos is all combat and not anything else. So like you're like, well, he's doing what he does a very specific specialized role. Whenever you've got a generalist model, and this is the problem in the Gash in some extent, that's why he's so expensive. He's got all the magic stuff, but actually and he's good in combat.
And is resilient and doesn't have to
So you're like, well, he's got a bit of everything. That's why he's expensive. So it's like but you do get a free unit as well. So like if you say, well, I'm going to put a unit like a Tree Lord down or 20 Dryads down, you're basically just knocking 200 points off of her, like, whatever. So it's like, well, maybe she's expensive, but you're getting 200 points worth of models for free. So you're going to get to her
is always there's one game in 12 at a tournament, you're going to face something that could take her off turn 1 and has less drops than you. I think, and that's, you're taking this type of model, you have to accept it when you put it on the table, just like if you're taking a Gash or Archeon or anything, getting Bellacord, whatever it is, killing it or switching it off. She does have 3 casts. She's very fast. She can heal your army, so building around her, maybe, but I feel there's 100 more points there than needs to be for me to want to take her in an army of mine, I reckon.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's one of those things, it's like time will tell.
I do completely agree with you, though. She's a bloody hard model to use well, and it's nice that there are models like that in the game, because I think someone could turn up with one of these, having played with that, Alariel for 3 years and being a boss of it and just completely ruin people's day with this really annoying thing that threatens for 3 turns and doesn't even get into combat and just one-shots heroes and that type of thing, and heals the entire army, and then it goes in, nearly dies, and heals itself the next turn on the flip-flop. So I completely get where you're coming from on her, but hard used to using.
We have to see as well, like, if the points is because there's something, obviously, because we've got a new edition coming, so maybe there's something there. We don't know. Like, you'd sort of... So next hero is the Warsong Revenant.
Ross has just confirmed that all Sylvaneth are getting +1 save in the next edition.
I've definitely not. So the Warsong Revenant has got 7 wounds, 5. He's actually quite big. I didn't realize he was as big as, because you look at the model and you think, oh, he's like a foot hero, and you actually realize he's on quite a big base.
Oh my god, what a target! He's not very defensible. Let's see what comes here.
Moves 8, flies. He's got a 3-inch reach attack, 5 attacks, 3 threes, run 1, damage 2. You get to add 1 to bravery for Sylvan units wholly within 12. Subtract 1 from bravery of enemy models. You've got a 4-up ignore save on wounds and mortal wounds, so that's pretty good. Yep. Get +1 to cast, dispel, and unbind for this model while it's within 9 of a wildwood.
All right.
He's a wizard. He gets 2 spells, so he's better than an ancient. Okay. He's got, obviously, you get to...
He's only got 1 unbind.
Oh, yeah, okay. Fine. Weird. He also gets to know all the spells of Law of the Deepwood.
Yeah, that's great.
So he's got the Swarm of Spite spell as well, which is on a 7. Roll a number of dice equal to the casting roll for each enemy unit within 9. On a 5-up, they take a mortal wound, so that's every unit within 9 of him. So that's
cool. I love stuff. Love AoEs. He's 275 points. He's got 2 spells. 200. Let's start there. He's a wizard. He's got 7 wounds, 5-up save, but he does have an after save, 2 casting attempts. He's already in, acceptable territory for a 2-spell wizard. Move 8 and fly. You'd like it to be a bit more, but it's still not slow.
No. And at least you get to use lookout sirs and cover and stuff like that, because he's not a monster or anything. And
his combat profile isn't dreadful as well by wizard standards. 5 attacks at reach 3, 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 2.
I can see him in a dryad blob.
Yeah, I can see.
Giving him +1 bravery, being hard to get to, doing AoE explosions. Yeah, he's good. So the Awakened Wildwood. There's some changes to this scroll. Obviously, all the setup rules look to be added to the scroll. Whether it's better or worse, I don't know. Sylvaneth players will tell me. It's still got the visibility thing and touching that. I think the change really is the Vengeful Forest Spirits. So the end of the charge phase, roll a dice for each unit that does not have the Sylvaneth keyword within 1 of a wildwood. Add 2 to the roll if wizards endless spells. If any wizard, just as not just Sylvaneth, or endless spells within 6. So basically, it's on a 4+. They take D3 mortal wounds. So that's sort of changed from when you used to cast and roll a dice to see if it did damage. Now it's like if there's a wizard within range, it still only does it at the end of the charge phase. But you don't have to charge. You just have to be near it. So if you've charged near it, and you're not charging it, and it's in both players' turns, so it could be quite annoying, actually.
Yeah.
Particularly if you pin one of their heroes or monsters next to it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just chipping away.
Small people are quite worried about it.
Yeah. So new Wildwood scroll.
New formation too.
Yeah. So Drycha's Spike Grove. So it's Drycha and units of Spike Revenants. The Cruel Talons and Fangs have a rend of 1 instead of nothing. So
120 points.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. They've got so many good formations in the book. I don't think you need to touch it.
Yeah, I think that feels like it's 80. But you can take larger units of them. People don't ever do it, but it's not a bad idea, actually. And they could muller their way through chaff or crap. Absolutely ruin them. You can take
the Outcast Battalion for 80, which gives you a battle line, and you don't really care about the rule, literally. I don't think is Drycha got Cruel Talons and Fangs? Does it buff her? I don't know.
Well, she wouldn't have a rend value of
nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. So anyway, let's just talk about Slaanesh.
Yay! So Dexess of the Talon of Slaanesh. Movement of 12, 10 wounds, 4 up save. It is a demon monster. 3-inch reach.
This is interesting. I was expecting a profile that would get worse when it took damage when I saw the pictures, so that probably means I've got an idea of their size being different from what it is. But that's fine with me.
Well, it is still a monster. It's like the Vengorian Lord.
Yeah.
I think it's probably, I'd say it's probably equivalent size of a Vengorian Lord.
Let's call it a Wyvern profile then. Let's hope it's got Wyvern points.
So 3-inch reach, 4 attacks, 2s, 3s, Ren 1 damage 2. And Talons, 2 attacks, 3s, Ren 2 damage 2. It can fly. It can run or retreat and charge. After this model's fought for the first time, at the start of each battle round, add 1 to the attacks of its model's weapons for the rest of the battle, and it's cumulative. So you want to fight early, and as soon as you fight, you're going to get +1 attack every turn.
A bit like Gordrak vibes, but it's as long as you've fought, you don't have to hit or kill something. So that's cool. I like that as a mechanic.
I mean, if you're playing Lurid Haze and you alpha striked with it and you're in combat on your first turn, that means you're going to get +4 attacks by the end of the game. That could be quite nasty.
I am down.
You get -1 to hit for attacks against this model. So that's
helpful,
not melee, that's just anything.
It's not too survivable, so that's definitely helpful.
You've got an immunity to Battle Shock Bubble for Slaanesh Demons, Holyven 12, which don't really care about.
No, not really.
In addition, once per turn, this model can issue a command ability to a Slaanesh Demon unit without using a command point.
That is good.
Yeah.
That is really good. Actually, that's phenomenal. You know, that's lots of people we've seen already a few instances of like CP on a 4+. This is just CP for free. That's amazing. And yeah, that's 280 points. I reckon that feels like it is. It's not a wizard.
No.
But can run or retreat and still charge is awesome. Survivability isn't great, so I'm very glad there's the -1 there. Hits pretty well. Not too much damage coming out of it. No. So it's kind of a...
it's a very strange combat place, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think
if you need the CPs though, I
think it would be quite good in like a blob of or protected by demonettes or fiends because you've got a 3-inch reach.
Fiends. Same move as fiends, which is quite neat.
So you could almost like wrap her in it in fiends and
yeah, it should be like sneaking around edges.
And because you get a
protected
command ability for free, like that says or to a demon unit without a command, so it doesn't have to be her or him or it. You could do it on the fiends.
Yeah. Equally, depending on where you've chosen to play within, in Lurid Haze, that could be +1 save. So that's you could just look at it like that. She could have a 3+ save the entire battle, for free, which is cool.
I like it. The model's cool.
Yeah, I like it. 280 is, yeah.
I mean, Sigvald's 260.
Well, that's not a contest because I love him unconditionally.
I almost feel like the points for these two are the wrong way around.
Yeah, so you got 280 and we're about to move to a 260, so let's see. And
Sinessa is a 12-inch move, 1 less wound. It's got a shooting attack, 1 attack, which doesn't have a hit or wound roll. So what it says is the staff is do not pick a target or use the attack sequence. Instead, pick 1 enemy unit within range and visible. The opposing player must roll a dice for that unit. If the roll is less than the save characteristic, but not a 6, it takes D6 mortal wounds. If the roll is equal to or greater, but not a 6, it takes D3 mortal wounds. On a 6, nothing happens.
That's not too bad.
It's quite a good mortal wound poke, because even if they got a 4+ save, that's a 50-50 to do D6 mortal wounds or D3. But it's only 1 in 6 chance you do nothing.
Yeah, well, so I mean, if you compare that to like a typical hero 3s and 3s high quality shooting attack, it's way more reliable already. So yeah,
it's got the Talons, 3 attacks, 3s, Ren 2 damage 2, which is okay, but it's the same as the Talons on Dexessa, but 1 more attack. but then you've got -1 to hit again because it's still got the
Good.
Lepidoptera. I don't know. It's got the voice of Sinesh. If this model issues a command to one friendly unit, that unit can be anywhere on the battlefield. The range of the command ability does not apply. If this model issues a command to more than one friendly unit, of those friendly units can be anywhere on the battlefield as long as it's visible. In addition, if the model successfully casts Whispers of Doubt or Purveyne of Sinesh, the hero affected by the spell can be anywhere on the battlefield as long as that hero is visible to this model. So Purveyne is the leadership test mortal wounds, and Whispers of Doubt is her spell, which is on a 6. Pick one enemy hero within 3 of the caster, but anywhere on the table. Roll 3d6. If you roll higher than that bravery, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks that target the hero until next hero phase. So it's actually quite good because we can basically cast it out of unbind range, pick an enemy hero you want to shoot off with your archers, and get +1 to hit against them by rolling 3d6 and getting higher than the bravery. So
none of that shit says anything to do with Hedonites or keywords either. It's about the opponent. So even if you've got allies, you'd be getting bonuses to hit them. So
and she really actually makes a good ally in Chaos armies that can have Sinesh allies because of that.
I can see that. Yeah, absolutely.
Also, she knows Whispers of Doubt. In addition, they know all the spells from Law of Sinesh, the Forbidden Sorcery of Sinesh, and the Law of Pain and Pleasure. So she gets access to every single spell in the Sinesh Battletome, even if she's not in the Allegiance Sinesh, Hedonites of Sinesh.
It only casts one spell, though.
It does, but
it gives you full options.
If you're playing a non-Hedonites army and you take her as an ally, you now get access to the entire lore because it's on the War Scroll.
No, that's great.
So, like, I think she's like really good, but because as well, like, the staff doesn't need, like, you've got the range damage from the staff, you've got the lash, you can do command abilities to anything on the table that you can see. It's like, and it doesn't say, it says this issues a command to a one friendly unit. That friendly unit can be anywhere. It doesn't say Sinesh.
Like I said, there's not any keyword apart from hero written on this entire War Scroll.
No.
So, yeah.
And that shoot and poke is just really good. And obviously, if you're playing Sinesh, it allows you to have something in your backfield that can do stuff, but can then be a summoning point.
Yeah.
And obviously, anything that you're poking with, like, if you're going to first turn, poke their hero for a couple mortal wounds with Purveyne, then basically what you're doing is you're going, oh, well, I've just got a depravity. Then I can staff this and get another depravity. And so it's like, I don't know. Yeah. I think it's all right. I mean, they're kind of like they're like Sigvald level type heroes.
Yeah.
She's still a monster. Doesn't have a monstrous profile. So like, again, but I quite like the halfway house monsters because it always feels a little bit like, oh, we've got to do like varying degrees of profile because they've got the monster keyword. It's nice to have an in between.
I like it.
Yeah, lovely model.
This is something else with medium move in the army as well for keeping up with your fiends and stuff like that, which is solid. We've got formation as well.
We do the Exquisite Pursuit. So it's the Contorted Epitome, 1 Fiend, 1 Seeker. It's a unique character, the Epitome. And you get the Mirror of Twisted Truths. In your shooting phase, you can pick one enemy unit that is within 3 of Luxian Vreska, or one enemy unit that's within 12 of Luxian and more than 3 from other units. Roll a dice for each model in that unit. If that unit has a wound characteristic of 1, each 6, it takes a mortal wound. If it has a wound characteristic of more than 1, each 6, it takes D3 mortal wounds. It's just, so basically it's like pick a unit, roll a dice for each model, unless they're in combat with something else, unless it's you. So it's, whatever.
Seekers, I've got a soft spot for Seekers, but they're not taking too much in armies.
The problem is with the formation, it doesn't do anything to the other units other than the Epitome, and then the Epitome can't have artifacts, and then you want named characters, so it's like, I don't know. How many points is it? Have you got it in front of you?
130.
So it just seems a bit expensive. It's a Sinesh War Scroll, so it's going to feel a bit expensive.
Anyway.
Ooh, don't go there. We'll summon the legions. It's okay. I mean, a lot of the and when we've looked through the Broken Realms books, a lot of the formations are there because of the story more than because of what they do in the game.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Then we've got a new Cities of Sigmar. There's another one's popped up. So we've got Excelsis, which I keep wanting to say Excelsior. It's a, it can use the Ways of the Free People battle traits. It's still a Cities of Sigmar army, but it gets some extra stuff. So City of Secrets is a good book. The army must be from Gur. So I think there's some stuff in the book when what realm you're in, you get different spells and your wizards and stuff like that, and what realm artifacts you can have and your endless spells as well. So it's like it sort of each one's themed in a realm. So it's got Gifted Prophecy. Once per phase, when you pick a friendly unit to shoot or fight, you can say that the attack has been prophesized. If you do, roll a dice. On a 1, subtract 1 from hit rolls made by that unit. On a 2 to 6, add 1 to hit rolls made by that unit in the phase. So, yeah, 2+ to get +1. But if you roll a 1, you're at -1. But it's per phase. So shooting and fighting, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Not too bad. I've got to go, Russ. It's got to +4 and I didn't realise.
All right, mate. Well, I'll carry on while you're not here. So have a good one.
No worries. Sorry about that. I wanted to at least be there for some of it.
No, that's cool. So I'll carry on doing Man Read book. But yeah. So
right.
Cheers, man. See you.
All right. Should I do something to say bye to people?
Just do it now. Because I'm not stopping the recording, so bye.
All right, I'm off to go and have cocktails in Alice in Wonderland land. So,
all right, have fun.
Feels about us.
Karen working.
In keeping with Slanesh.
As soon as the Slanesh war scrolls, you're like, I'm done, I'm out. So,
I'm out of here. I need a cocktail. I'm going to go and look at myself in the mirror with signals. Cool. All right, see you in a bit. Yeah, bye, peace.
It's just me now. So you've got the command ability, which is Riposte. So you use that in the start of the combat phase, pick a friendly Excelsis unit wholly within 12 of a hero. If your modified save roll for an attack that targets a unit in the combat phase is 6, the attacking unit takes a mortal wound. So it's pretty good. You can do like a bounce back wound, so that's okay. You've got these command traits that you can pick from. So general can retreat and charge, and they get to add 1 to hit rolls for attacks, and subtract 1 from hit rolls that hit them. So that's pretty cool. Then the right place. So start of the first battle round, pick D3 friendly units, set them up again. So it's like a redeploy. Then you've got the Darkest Secrets. So at the start of the combat phase, you can pick 1 enemy hero within 3 of this general. That hero cannot use command abilities until the next combat phase. So it's okay because it stops people using like all-out defense and things like that. So, but it's only an enemy hero and it's within 3. So it's okay. I think Cunning Foe is probably the one I'd like the most out of those. You've got some artifacts. So you've got Glimmering. So once per battle before you make a hit or wound roll, a save roll for attack that targets them, a run or a charge roll, you can say you will foretell the result. It's very Zinch, this, isn't it? If you do, you must choose the result of the roll. The result chosen for a D6 roll must be a whole number. The result chosen for a 2d6 must be a whole number. The result cannot be re-rolled, but modifiers are applied to it. So that's actually amazing. Like just to be able to, it's a 12-inch charge. Like, it's basically a mini Kairos ability, although it can be modified afterwards. So, but yeah, generally that's great. Like, yeah, why wouldn't you want to use that? Rock Jaws. In your shooting phase, you can pick 1 enemy unit within 8 of the bearer that is visible. Roll a dice. On a 3+, the unit takes D3 mortal wounds. Yeah, not so bothered about that. The old Griff Feather Charm. There you go, it's back. For people who remember it. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target the bearer. In addition, add 1 to the move characteristic. So that is exactly as it used to be. So that's a malign sorcery artifact coming back. So yeah, I mean, the Glimmering is just amazing. Like, I would just take that every time. Like, not even, there's no thought process there. That is just auto pick. Even if you're just using it for, because it's basically like save rolls as well, charge rolls, run rolls. Can't use it on casting, but yeah, it's solid. Got the spell lore. So you got the Amber Spear as one of my old favourites from the old when I used to play Shadow of the Horn Rat, and you used to get the guy in the mountains was Ocklaw, and he'd go and you do the Amber Spear and the Flock of Doom, and there's no Anrahir's curse, but there you go, almost there. Show him age. So Amber Spear is on a 6. Pick a point on the battlefield within 12. Draw a line 1 millimeter wide. Each unit, other than the caster, takes 1 mortal wound. That is not very exciting. I wish it'd be more than that. Yeah, it's each unit. So it's not even model, it's each unit. No, that's not very good. Flock of Doom on a 6. Pick an enemy unit with an 18 of the caster that's visible. Roll 12 dice. For each 6 they take a mortal wound. Again, not very good, because it's you're on average doing, what, 2 mortal wounds? That's like, it's just not very exciting. It's like, no one cares, right? You might pop a few 6s, but it's just it's basically like a bolt, but maybe not as good. Could spike, could not. I've done plenty of times when I've run 12 dice and not rolled a single 6, and I've done other times I've run it and rolled 5 6s, so who knows. Kara's on a 6. Pick an enemy monster within 12. Roll 2d6. If it's higher than the monster's bravery, that monster cannot make charge move in your opponent's next turn. That could be potentially like game winning. If you're playing against any, like Sons of Behemoth, they're not particularly brave. If you beat that and they can't fight in a turn, that's going to be massive. They can't charge. I mean, obviously if you charge them, they'll hit you, but I think that's really, really good. Short range, but at the same time, that could be very impactful. Then you've got 2 new war scrolls. So you've got Doralia Vendenst, which is the sort of witch hunter duo. Got a crossbow, which is just 1 a shot, freeze, run 2 damage 2, 5 wounds, 4 up save, movement 5. It's a named character. She's got a witch hunter's sword, 3 attacks, 1 damage. She got a mortal wound and wound bounce save of a 5 up. She gets +1 attack to her crossbow and 1 to hit rolls if she's not moved. So 2 shots and 2s to hit. 24-inch range, that's pretty good, and it's damage 2, ren 2, so it's not a bad shot, to be honest. I think she's 115 points. Weapons of banishment double the damage made by this model's weapon if the target is a wizard or a demon, so it's damage 4, and then that's actually pretty good, like 2 shots, 2s, freeze, ren 2, damage 4. Yeah, that's pretty good, because you could do 8 wounds to a hero or something. There's quite a lot of stuff in the game. It's got wizard or demon that you'd be surprised. It's like a lot of stuff. Also, when she fights or shoots, you can choose an endless spell to be the target. If you do, roll a dice to see if that attack scores a hit. If you do, don't make a wound or a save roll. Instead, roll 2d6. The roll's greater than the casting value. Again, that's the value, not the roll. Then that endless spell is dispelled. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, she's actually pretty good. I like that. Decent. Then you've got Galen Vendenst, which I guess is a dad. So 6-inch move, 5 wounds, 4 up save, bravery 8. Got a pistol, 9-inch range, 3 shots. Freeze, run 1 damage. 1 broadsword, 6 attacks. Broadsword. So you can do the whole Hero Quest is the best game voice. If you haven't seen that, you should check that out. Like, the best thing about Hero Quest is just so much fun, especially if you're my age and that's what you got into the hobby with. Grim Resolve, you got, again, it's the 5 up bounce. Can retreat and shoot or charge in the same phase, which is good. Double the damage of an attack made by this weapons if the target is a wizard or a demon. So again, like, it's okay. In addition, when it shoots or fights, you can choose an endless spell. Again, it's the unbind. So I actually think gone too far. Dorelia is actually way better than him, but he's 115 as well. Still not bad, but I think they're quite a themed. They're nice models and they're quite good in a theme together. I think they don't have the keyword of a city, so you can put them in a city. So that's pretty cool. Now, Lord Croak, this is the big one. So obviously he's got a new model, which is awesome. But we've also got this new war scroll. So I was going to rely on my co-host for this, but he's not here now. So So you've got the Azerite Force Barrier, which I think is pretty much exactly the same, which is his attacks, but that's not why you take Croak. Obviously, the old scroll had 7 wounds for a 4-up save. He's now got 18 wounds for a 4-up save, so it's quite a big difference. He can fly. He always could do. You've got the Arcane Vassal rule, so when he attempts to cast a spell, before making the casting roll, you can pick 1 Skink Wizard that's within 12 of this model, or 1 friendly Oracle anywhere on the battlefield, and the spell was successfully cast, not unbound. You measure the range from the Skink Wizard or Oracle keyword, which I think is exactly the same as what he had before. It's got the Force Barrier, so obviously we just said about the attacks, so it's equal to the number of enemy models within 3. So each enemy monster counts as 5, which I believe is the same, but it didn't used to get bonuses for monsters. So yeah, so that's okay. I mean, it's not really, if he's in combat, you're not going to be that happy about it. So dead for innumerable ages, but in every single Age of Sigmar Seraphon list. No, I mean, so I'm joking, of course. So he had that rule before, so this has changed significantly. So at the end, I think it was roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to the model on a 4-up, it was negated. Now he's got a different rule, which is at the end of each phase, if any wounds or mortal wounds are allocated to this model, roll 3d6. Add the number of wounds and mortal wounds allocated to this model. On a 20 or more, the model is slain. On any other roll, all wounds and mortal wounds are healed. So you'll roll 3d6, add the number of wounds or mortal wounds allocated to him, which is probably why he's got 18 wounds, because if you say 18 wounds, then you're going to die, right? Because you can't not fail that. On any other roll, all wounds allocated are healed. So if Lord Croak has 18 or more wounds before the end of a phase, he's immediately slain. So yeah, so that's basically his, like, you can got to do 18 in a single phase, or enough that the 3d6 roll will kill him. Mathematically, 9 wounds should give you a good chance of him dying. So, but he only needs to have, I mean, it's okay. I mean, like, it's just a bit weird. It's a weird rule. I think he used to have something that in the old rules, I won't know because I don't know 100%. He used to have a thing where you would, he would heal to full, but I don't know. But he's kind of changed there, so that's quite interesting. So impeccable foresight. Then you roll 3 dice for each 4+, you get a command point, which I think he had that before as well. Now, he's the Supreme Master of Order, so he gets +2 to cast, dispel, and unbind. In addition, the model can attempt to unbind enemy spells that cast anywhere on the battlefield, which is pretty strong. Yeah, I mean, like, that's +2 to cast, unbind, and dispel, and he can do it anywhere. That's pretty good. He gets 4 spells. And he's got Arcane Bolt, Mystic Shield, Celestial Deliverance, Comet's Call. In addition, he knows all the spells of Celestial Domination from BattleTome Seraphon. So again, he's got all the spells from a lore, which is good. It's good to see that on the War Scrolls. Celestial Deliverance, he can attempt to cast a spell up to 3 times. It's on a 7. The first time it's attempted, it's on an 8. The second time, it's on a 9. The third time... sorry, 7, 8, then 9. And then each time the spell is successfully cast, pick 3 different enemy units within 10 and visible. Roll 1 dice for each unit. On a 2+, it takes D3 mortal wounds. If it's a demon, it takes 3 mortal wounds instead of D3 mortal wounds. Now, I think this was the thing that people used to like. I mean, I haven't played against Croak since the Seraphon book come out, so I know he's a big popular thing, but we haven't had tournaments here, so I haven't really played against him because I wasn't at an event where I faced him or saw him being used since before the lockdown, and then I haven't played really Warhammer since then. So I think before it was basically the same, but I don't know if that's any different. I think it's basically the same. I wasn't sure if there's been some change with Balewind, because obviously he's got 18 wounds now. He can't go on a Balewind, which I think, because I think in one of the Seraphon armies you can redeploy the model, like you can like teleport around the table, and I think when he was on a Balewind that range got really big, but obviously you can't because of the wounds characteristic. You can't go on a Balewind anymore, so that might be a nerf in an indirect way. Comet's calls on a 7. Pick D3 different enemy units anywhere on the battlefield. Each of those units takes D3 mortal wounds. Roll separately for each one. If the cast was a 10, you take D6 different units instead of D3. Now, I think he had that before, and I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same. Then he's got this command ability, which is Supreme Gift from the Heavens. You can use this command ability in your hero phase. D3 Seraphon units wholly within 18. Until next hero phase, units can fly, +1 save against missile weapons. You can use it once per hero phase, which I think is exactly the same. So I don't think he's changed an awful lot other than his like way he dies, basically. I don't know what his old rule. I was pretty sure there was a thing that you'd roll a like a leadership test or something, and he comes back. I can't remember if that was the old scroll, and the sort of middle scroll doesn't have it. I can't remember. Seraphon's not something I play, and I don't really like them very much, so I don't tend to look at them very much. But I think 18 wounds, that rules. I don't think he's not got worse for sure. Has he got better? I don't know. It's sort of halfway. Getting access to the law is really strong, but I think most times people are just using a nuke. I think it kind of encourages you to use more of the spell. He's 430 points now, so he's not a monster. He's not a behemoth. So yeah, Star Master and Lord Croak. So pretty cool. The model's amazing. Like one of the best models they've done for ages. I think it's an absolute triumph. So I'm sure people will be sitting in the comments about this when we do the live show later. I'll put a bit more time doing this. It's a bit of a rush show, this, because I got the book this morning. But yeah, it's there. So Skaven Tide, we've got the some new battle traits. So it's the Hidden Weapons Team's battle trait in addition. So when you select a weapon team other than a Warp Grinder, so to be part of the army, you can pick a unit of Clan Rat, Storm Vermin, to hide the weapon team in it. So don't set the weapon team up until you reveal it. You can hide one weapon team in a Clan Rat or Storm Vermin unit for every 10 models. So start your shooting phase, reveal one or more hidden weapon teams. Set up each weapon team wholly within 3 of the unit. So it's quite nice because you could put it in front and then get the extra range. More than 3 from enemies. They can shoot in the turn they are revealed as long as the unit they were hiding in did not run. It could have retreated. Okay, interesting. In addition, end of your charge phase, you can reveal one or more hidden weapon team units that were hiding in a unit made a charge move. So each hidden weapons team wholly within 3 of the unit, and can fight. So you can put like, I think there's one of the I think it's like the Doom Wheelie type one. It's like got the spinning blades on it. So that's quite cool because you can basically hide your weapons teams. I mean, back in the old days, they used to actually set up in the unit. So you'd have like a unit of Clan Rats and the Warp Fire would be in the front rank and it could blow up and blow off unit up. It was really cool. I quite like that. I know it's not like amazing, but it really tickles the nostalgia for me for Skaven. So it's quite useful as well because they obviously don't know it's in there, and then you can be like, haha. Yeah, some shenanigans. So that's pretty cool. It just means they can't shoot it off, right, or magic it before you get to use it. So it makes those weapon teams a little bit more reliable. Yeah, it could be quite devastating actually if you're doing like 30 Storm Vermin with 3 Rattling guns in or something like that, you know. So it's yeah, it could be pretty nasty. But in combat as well, even just Clan Rats with a grinder in, this is not other than a Warp Grinder, which is the tunnel one. I can't remember the name of it. There's one that's like, it's like the combat one that isn't the one that lets you deploy from underneath the ground. Someone will tell me it's not a Doom Wheel, but it's a Doom Flayer. Doom Flayer? I think it might be a Doom Flayer. Then Clan Molder mutations. If you use any fighting beast units, one of those can have a mutation. So when they benefit from the prize creation battle trait, you can choose to have it a Clan Molder mutation instead of adding D3 to its wounds and rerolling hit rolls of 1. Okay, so it's from the BATTLETOME Skaven. So declare which fighting beast will have the mutation and choose or roll. The same fighting beast can have the same one get you could battalions give you extra. So these are like mount traits, I think. Then you've got Hell Pits have got Toughened Sinews, gets 14 wounds and a save of 4, so it makes it more survivable. You've got a move of 7. In addition, charge rolls are automatically a 7, so you're just always going to be moving 7, charging 7, which is quite nice. Quivering Bulk, add 1 to each dice roll you make for this Hell Pit Abomination's Avalanche of Flesh. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I think there's only a 2d6 move, the Hell Pit, so giving it an automatic 7 is actually pretty good because it's just that reliability. It's got you can use the Hell Pits, the regenerating monstrosity ability in the enemy hero phase as well as your hero phase, so you get to heal more often. I think it gets D3 wounds back if I'm not mistaken. Again, I'm doing this from memory, so there might be some errors here, okay. The best Warp Zone Spikes, you can re-roll the dice when you use the Hellpot Abomination's Warp Zone Spikes ability. In addition, you can re-roll wound rolls of 1 made by melee weapons, so it gives you a little bit more combat potential. Never Say Die Die, so you can re-roll the dice when you use his Too Horrible to Die ability. I think for me, like the first two are probably the best ones. It's good to do more damage, but if you don't get there because you're rolling poor rolls and you're not moving, it's not brilliant. You've got the big rattle goz. So you've got Toughened Sinews again, 6 wounds of 6 and a save of 4. It's quite nice to get a buffed defensive unit. Then you've got the Tearing Claws, Blades and Fangs of attack of 6. In addition, you can re-roll charge rolls, or you can give them extra damage. So defense or damage, and then it has a move of 8, and you can heal D3 wounds. So it's like defense, damage, or faster with a little bit of healing. So I don't know, they're quite good, all pretty viable. You've got the Ratachak's Doom Coven, which is a bombardier, a lightning cannon, and a storm fiend unit. You can reroll hit rolls for attacks made by Ratachak's Doom Rocket, and add 1 to the weapon's damage characteristic. In addition, add 1 to the damage of shock gauntlets used by storm fiends if they're wholly within 12. Yeah, it's probably one of the most more narrative things. I don't think it's that big a deal. I think the Doom Rocket, yeah, it's he's got a super rocket which might be quite good, but I can't see running it really. It's probably more of a narrative thing. It might be good, but I'm not sure. The formation itself is 130, so fairly expensive as well. Then the last bit is the Bray Herd stuff. So you got the Butcher Herd. So this is a formation. So we've got a Great Bray. Again, these are unique characters in these formations, as they have done in all the Broken Realms books. 2 Bulgors, 1 Gorgon. So you've got the Gorgon Skull Staff. Add 2 to the attacks of the Gorgon Kai's Fetish Staff. The modified hit roll for attack made by the Gorgon Kai's Fetish Staff is a 6. It does D3 mortal wounds, and the attack sequence ends, so it just skips the wound roll. You don't really want to be fighting with your Bray Shaman. I mean, they're okay, but yeah, that's not really why they're in the army. Yeah, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by Warherd units in this battalion wholly within 12 of the Shaman. So not too bad, considering I think they're all Warherd, even the Gorgon. And if Gorgon Kai is your army's general, he has the Indomitable Beast command trait from Beasts of Chaos. So yeah, it's not too bad. It's quite an interesting formation because it's leaning into like the Warherd stuff, and I quite like the Warherd War Scrolls anyway. Not so big fan of the models, but other than that, it's pretty good. And that's 140, that formation. I've got this, surely should have been first. So if your army is Beast of Chaos army, you can use the Primal Instincts battle trait in addition. So you've got the Gore Battle Fury, reroll charge rolls for Gore units if they were reserved and ambushed. So this is not the keyword Gore, this is Gore units. So this isn't like Best of Gore and things like that. It's just Gore, like the actual Gore War Scroll, which you never see. Then the Warherd charge. After a friendly Warherd unit makes a charge, pick 1 enemy unit within 1 on a 2 roll a dice. Add 2 to the roll if it's a hero or has more than 3 models. On a 4+, they take D3 mortal wounds. So it's just impact hits, so pretty nice. I mean, you know, it's good. You've got Raging Storm. At the end of the Battle Shock phase, you can roll a dice for each Thunderscorn unit that is on the battlefield. Add 2 to the roll if it's a hero or has more than 3 models. On a 4+ heal 1 wound. Then roll a dice for each enemy unit within one of any Thunderscorn units. Add 2 again. So on a 4+, they take 1 mortal wound. So that happens on a 2+. Yeah. So it's on if you're basically got a big unit or within the hero, or it's on a 4 naturally. So, and it says if you take Thunderscorn Stormherd War Scroll Battalion in your army, do not use the Raging Storm ability on the War Scroll. Instead, when you use the Storm ability above, you can re-roll the dice. So I think it's probably a battalion gives you that rule, and I think it's giving it to you in the army. And then if you take the battalion, they're changing the rule, something like that. It's Beastman players will tell me. New Beast Lord War Scroll. So I'm not entirely sure what's changed on him, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of cross-reference. So his attack profile looks the same, his wounds, movement, all that looks exactly the same. So he's got model can run and charge, which I don't think he had before. Then he's got Grizzly Trophy, which is it used to be a command ability. So now it's just if any enemy models are slain by wounds in the combat phase, add 1 to wound rolls for Brayhead units wholly within 18 to the end of the phase. In addition, if any enemy heroes or monsters are slain, you can add 1 to hit rolls for Brayhead units within 18 in this model until the end of the phase. The unit cannot benefit from this once per phase. So yeah, so it's +1. Basically, it's +1 to hit, +1 to wound if you kill a monster or a hero. Or if you kill a non-monster hero, it's just +1 to hit. I think I'll add 1 to wound roll, so +1 to wound. Yeah, and +1 to hit if it's a monster or hero. It's the opposite way around. But yeah, so it's either +1/+1 or just +1. But you have to go. He has to fight for kill something first, so he has to go before something else. It's a bit like the Geist 4 on Manfred, but obviously a lot less likely. And it means your Brayhead's going to be beaten up because they're not very resilient. I think it used to be a command ability that you could re-roll wound rolls and re-roll hit rolls. So it's actually probably worse, but it's not a command ability. So I don't know. And Hatred for Heroes, if you target a hero and you roll a 6, it does 2 hits instead of 1, which I think he had re-roll wound rolls if he targets a hero. So again, it's almost the same, but not really. I don't really know. And he used to have a dual axes ability, which allowed him to reroll hit rolls of 1 that he doesn't have anymore. So it seems like he's almost got worse. I'm sure that's what I'll be told by. I don't really see many Beast Lords. Maybe you still won't see many of them. He's 95 points, so fairly cheap. Then the Jabba Slive's also got a new War Scroll. Again, I don't know if these changes are just getting ready for the new edition, that they might just be tinkers and changes. I don't know. But obviously he's got a better armor save, so he's gone up to a 4 up rather than a 5 up. His tongue attack looks exactly the same, whether it's damage 1 now, not damage D3. Vorpal Claws, essentially the same. Spike Tail looked like exactly the same. Oh no, it's got a different profile. So it used to be 4s, 3s, Ren 1 damage D3. Now it's 4s, 2s, Ren 2 damage D3. So slightly better. It can fly. It's got Aura of Madness. So subtract 1 from casting, dispelling, and binding for wizards within 6 of any units in your army with this ability. In addition, each time an enemy unit within 3 is chosen to fight, roll 3d6. If the roll is greater than the enemy's bravery, the unit's deranged, add 1 to the attacks of melee weapons used by that unit. However, if the modified hit roll for an attack is a 1, it takes 1 mortal wound. So it is if an enemy unit within 3 of any units. So like they take damage, but then they get to roll more dice. And then, but I think what this used to be was that you'd roll a dice for each enemy unit within 6, and on a 6 it can't cast or unbind, move, or attack. So that's definitely got a lot worse. I think as well, yeah, that's weird. But I mean, it might be the case that they get to roll loads of dice and they end up killing themselves. I don't know. Also, you've got the Spurt in Blood, which is roll a dice each time a wound inflicted by a melee weapon is not negated on a 4+, they take a mortal wound. But obviously, you've got 10 wounds, so that's going to be 5 mortals. So he's almost like a little bit like, I mean, that's just, yeah, not particularly exciting. He is a monster, and he's 165 points. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's probably worse because you just don't have that chance. Slightly better armor save. Attack profile's got slightly better. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, not really the thing. So that is all the war scrolls and rules from Broken Realms Kragnos. Hopefully you can see the points on here, and we've gone through everything. Sorry about the last section. I'm not that knowledgeable on this stuff, and I haven't had time to prep. But I wanted to get the show out, and people reading and watching this who know those stuff, they'll still get some insight from that and see what it does. Obviously put stuff in the comments below if you want to talk, and obviously this is premiere, so if you're chatting away, the chat replay would be on, so you can read that back. We actually got a show tonight, which is there's a big reveal about the Dominion box from the Warhammer community at 6 p.m. UK time. So we're going to do a live show at 8 p.m. UK time, and at that time we will talk through that reveal and go through all the stuff that's revealed and what's been shown. And there'll be a chat room. It'll be live. You can ask questions. You can, like, you know, and we can speculate and talk and whatever people want to do. But then after that, we're going to do a little bit more into Kragnos. So if you've got questions or stuff that you thought wanted more information on, or want to cover more, or there's some army lists you want to see, so I'm going to probably try and write some army lists using some of the new scrolls. If you want to, like, you know, ask sort of away some questions, and, you know, just discuss the new Kragnos book, then we'll be there live for that as well. So hopefully you'll join us. So the video thumbnail link will be at the end of this, so just click on that and hit the reminder button. But 8 p.m. tonight, come join us for live show, and thanks for watching the video. Hopefully it's useful. I do appreciate the support, so if you would like the content, please like and subscribe on the video. I know I hate saying it, but it is, you know, it is important. Either that or just tell a mate to watch it if you think it's useful. Yeah, and you know, really appreciating the support and the reactions we have for the Soulblight videos. I will say as well, just to remind people, that AOS 3, obviously we will be doing a lot of content. I'm planning to do a lot of content aimed at beginners as well, like how to get into the game and go through the rules, but also for experienced players, like how that's changed and what the impact is. I'm going to do a video on every faction and say about how free affects those factions. So there's lots and lots of content coming. There's a lot of stuff I didn't do when we've had the channel launch that I could have done for 2 that I will be doing, just because it didn't make sense to me, knowing that it was coming, to do that, knowing it would be obsolete. And then, you know, so hopefully we can have a nice launch of the new edition, and we can make people level up their game and give people lots of insight. Once tournaments start up in the UK, I mean, FACEHAMMER GT is in September. I will want to be doing tournament reports like we used to. And again, people wondering about the podcast is coming next week, hopefully. It's just that we had the server migration. I did mention it on another show, but I thought I'd talk about it again. That basically meant it was all on hold because I didn't know if I was going to be able to recover the data. I did recover the data, but I didn't want to load more information and data onto that server and release it knowing that it would be lost and then I'd have to start from scratch again. So I had a snapshot and I left it still from that snapshot. So, all right, cool. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.